This is the Radically Realistic Podcast. I'm Susanna LaPointe, a 14-year personal training and nutrition coaching veteran. My wellness coaching practice incorporates strength, nutrition, and self-care. Because while fitness and nutrition are very important, they are just the tip of the iceberg as far as taking really amazing care of ourselves goes. So I incorporate all other types of self-care practices into my coaching as well. I call this podcast Radically Realistic because when it comes to implementing sustainable habits and practices to improve ourselves or our lives, they must be realistic and they must fit into our current lives. Otherwise, they won't stick. And then what even is the point? Join me each week as we explore another aspect of taking amazing care of ourselves through a lens of being super realistic about what we can and will actually fit into our lives. Let's get started with today's show. Hey there, everybody. Thank you again for tuning into Radically Realistic, episode number 8 today. And today I just want to chat for a couple minutes about the mindset shift that takes place when we reject the idea of New Year's resolutions and instead think about setting some intentions. And this concept also applies to just kind of overhauling our lives in general. I'm sure you have tried that before, tried like some super restrictive diet or some really crazy workout program that doesn't really fit with what your current lifestyle is, and just kind of expecting yourself to make all of these changes all at one time without considering that your body and brain may not be ready for that. And so we're going to talk about setting intentions today, which is a much more gentle way of making changes to our lives. I know it's incredibly tempting to try to tighten things up this time of year. After the indulgence of the holidays, which for a lot of us starts around Halloween, we can go to the end of the year and just kind of feel yuck. And there is generally a knee-jerk reaction to this. And we see these ads for New Year, New You everywhere. It's so tempting to think, this is the time that I will change everything. But it never works. I want to offer just a little perspective shift on this mindset from someone, me, who has set and definitely not followed through with multiple rounds of New Year's resolutions. I stopped setting resolutions a few years ago, but before that, I was on a different deprivation diet or intense workout plan every year. I know we all like the idea of a clean slate, a fresh start, starting over, a cleanse, and I used to be this way too. But something we must realize is that there aren't actually any fresh starts in life. There aren't do-overs or clean slates. Life is a big, long journey. There are dips and valleys, there are hills and high points, but all of it is one long trip. There aren't any start-overs. There are no do-overs. There's no clean slates. There's just day after day consistency of working towards being a better human to ourselves and to others. When we look forward down this long road, thinking about our later years at the end of our lives, what would that person, that much older version of you, have appreciated about the decisions that you are making with your lifestyle choices right now? Would that person be proud of the decisions that you make on a day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month, and year-to-year basis? Or would they be full of regret because you kept putting off, quote, getting healthy and never made the time to invest your efforts into building the good habits that will ensure that you are set up for the best possible outcomes as you age? When we look forward into the future, what I think actually makes a lot more sense than setting rigid expectations of ourselves every single year, only to deprive or pressure ourselves into something we can't actually do, can't follow through with, and actually don't want to do. We just feel like we should because it's the new year. Overall, the idea of setting intentions is a much more gentle approach to work towards slowly improving our habits and health practices as we age. And setting intentions is definitely not something that should just happen at the first of the year. Realistically, taking a few minutes each morning and setting some intentions for our day would get us a whole lot further with a whole lot more grace and peace for ourselves than setting rigid, unrealistic expectations of ourselves to completely change our lives in one day. Here are some ideas of some intentions you could set and reasons that you might want to do so. Here's the first one. I intend to take excellent care of myself today. This one is kind of an overarching, all-encompassing intention that covers a whole host of things that we could do to take amazing care of ourselves. You may have something specific in mind, or if you just have a loose idea of just really taking care of your body, giving it what it needs, giving it enough sleep, making sure you have enough water, feeding yourself well, eating lots of vegetables, getting some movement in. This is kind of an overarching intention. Here's another one. I intend to nourish my body in a way that I know will keep my blood sugar stable. This one sets an idea in your mind where you'll be making taking care of your blood sugar a priority, which ensures that you will have stable energy, a calmer mind, and a more satisfied feeling throughout the day. Who doesn't want that? Also, guess what happens when your blood sugar is stable? Sugar cravings magically diminish, which, over time, will result in less junk eaten and will get you to a healthier weight naturally, if that's your goal. Here's another one. I intend to pause a couple times today and ask myself, what do I need right now? This one sends a signal that we have our own back. Rather than trying to squeeze ourselves into someone else's meal plan, or whatever it is, this intention places our needs and desires as important. Here's another one. I intend to move my body in a way that feels good to me today. This intention takes away the rigidity of the, quote, shoulds and puts us back in the driver's seat of our own bodies. There's a caveat here. It's always good to have a well-rounded fitness plan in place. Toggling through strength training, mobility and stretching, or yoga, and outdoor activity is really important. Variety is very important. A lot of my clients choose their workouts every day. Daily, they choose their daily workouts from a weekly list, so they are getting enough variety, but also are able to choose what they feel like doing that day. Some people just do better that way than having a specific plan set out for them. Those are just a few examples of intentions you could set in a daily morning practice, which is what I'm going to be talking about next week. They feel so much more expansive than rigidly trying to force yourself into something that is very different than what you are currently doing in your daily life. This is why resolutions almost never work. They have nothing to do with your actual lifestyle now, and they require you to make such big, vast, sweeping changes that they aren't sustainable. Okay, that's it for me today. If you're listening to this when it airs, I hope you have a lovely new year. And if it's after the fact, have a beautiful day anyways. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. And if you could please subscribe, share, rate, and review, it really helps out. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for supporting and listening to this podcast. I will talk to you next week. Have a great day. Bye.